Let's look at some time adverbs that we can use with the present perfect verbs. In our last video, we looked at the adverb already. We can use this time adverb when we want to say that the verb is finished, but the time isn't finished. So, for example, I have already eaten lunch today. Today is our time. The time isn't finished. It is still today. But the verb eaten, have, this verb is finished. So already is a nice adverb to use in this sentence. All right, let's look at the adverb just. When we use just, we can use it to say the verb finished recently. I have just sent you an email. It should arrive to you soon. So our verb have and sent, this verb is finished. And just means the verb finished recently. Yet is another time adverb. We usually use yet for negative or unstarted verbs. So, for example, I can't send you my homework yet because, actually, let's not put it there. Whoops. I can't send you my homework because I haven't finished it yet. Alright, so yet is our time adverb, and finished is the unstarted verb. Haven't is also a negative verb with the NT. So yet is a good time adverb for negative or unstarted verbs. We also use it for questions to ask if a verb has started yet. So, for example, have you been to Coles today yet? So here is my time adverb yet, and I'm asking if this verb has started yet or has happened. Let's look at the time phrase for 11 months. We often get this one confused with since, but let's have a look at the difference. So, for 11 months, I can use the present perfect. I have lived in Wagga for 11 months. Since, oops, spelling mistake. Now, to use since is a bit different. You'd say, I have lived in Wagga since June 2019. So since shows us when the verb started in the past. So June 2019 is when the verb started. So the verb live started June 2019, and we can use since for that time. Until now, all right? So I have lived in Wagga since June 2019. So this tells me that this verb started in June 2019 until now. until now because we've used the present perfect. And you can see the difference with this one here. I have lived in Wagga for 11 months. So these two sentences mean the same thing, except we just explained the time a little bit differently. So this is the total amount of time that this person has lived in Wagga. So that's the total amount of time. So you might say, I have lived in Wagga for 2 days, or I have lived in Wagga for 2 years. But if you want to say when you started living in Wagga, you would use since. So I have lived in Wagga since June 2019. Before now, that's basically the present perfect. So I might ask a question. Just going to change that to black. Have you been to Sydney before? So this before means in your life. In your life. Have you been to Sydney before? So from the time you were born until now, have you been to Sydney? Have you ridden a horse before? So this is asking if any time in your life, from the time you were born until now, have you done this verb? Have you ridden a horse? We can also use the time ever. Have you ever ridden a horse before? Let's look at this adverb again, ever and never. So the question, have you ever ridden a horse before? So our present perfect is have plus the past participle ridden, and the time adverb is ever, and you can use that with before. So ever means in your whole life until now, have you ever done this verb? Now, if your answer is no, your answer can have the time adverb never. No, I have never ridden a horse before. So this means in all my life, from the time I was born until now, I have never ridden a horse. So in your question, you can use ever, but in your reply, you need to use never. Let's look at the time adverb yet. So with the present perfect, we can use yet for negative or unstarted verbs, and with unfinished time. So the first one, I haven't checked my email yet today. So negative, where's our negative in this sentence here? It's right here with the NT, I have not. That's a contraction. I haven't checked. So this is a negative verb. My email today. So today is our time and it's unfinished. And yet tells us that this verb we want to or we will, but it hasn't started yet, okay? So it's an unstarted verb. So yet tells us that this verb hasn't started yet. Number 2, I haven't spoken to her on the phone yet, but I will soon. So again, we have our negative, and the yet tells us that the verb is unstarted. So this verb hasn't started yet. Number 3, I haven't finished all my homework yet, but I have finished some. We can use yet for questions when you want to ask if a verb is finished before now. So, have you finished... Oh, that doesn't make sense. Sorry about that. Have you finished all your homework yet? And your answer might be, yes, I have. Or, yes, I have finished. A question might be, has she called you today yet? You might say, no, she hasn't called me yet. Question number 3, has he come back from his appointment yet? All right, so this yet is asking, is this verb finished? And you might say, yes, he came back 5 minutes ago. Okay, just a little point here. Notice here, 5 minutes ago. This is a very specific time in the past. So we can't ever use ago with the present perfect. So you'll notice here, I use the simple past tense. He came back 5 minutes ago. Activity 1. Fill in the gaps with the time adverb. So look at the adverbs already, just, and yet. So now it's time to choose which one goes in the gap. Number 1, I have already been to Coles 3 times this week, so I don't want to drive there again. So we can use already because our verb have been is finished and our time this week is unfinished, so not finished. So we can put already here. I have already done that one. Number 3, she hasn't found her keys. So negative NT, has not. We can use yet for negative verbs. She hasn't found her keys yet. Number 4, I have something got up from bed. So I am not ready to leave the house yet. Yet is a time adverb, but this yet is linked to this verb here. So this yet does not belong to this verb. So I have something got up from bed. It's a positive verb, so it can't be yet. So it's either just or already. Okay, so we're going to put just here because it means just a short time ago. Recently finished. So this verb happened recently. I have just got up from bed. Alright, stop the video now and see if you can fill in the blanks.